to welcome you here for our second talk this morning. We've got Siva Prasad Pillai talking about debugging sustainability, how testing makes retail greener. Siva Prasad is the director of the QE Hub, and the QE Hub focuses on large-scale transformation programs for retail and on quality engineering solutions. So I'd like to hand you over to Siva Prasad, and please give him a warm welcome. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Thank you for coming down. And it's a pleasant weather outside. I don't want you have to sit here, enjoy the weather outside. The best thing to do, but unfortunately we are here. So, I'm going to talk about a specific topic, a specific domain. It is pretty much closer to all of our life. We do that. We interact with that domain every single day in our life, right? And sustainability, obviously, over the last few years, there's a lot of buzz around sustainability, how to improve the environmental impact and everything. So let's have a little look at how testing is actually supporting the initiatives for sustainability, specifically in retail. A little bit about me, 19 years in testing, still testing hands-on. 14 years in UK market with a lot of organization experience, working in Foods and Brown, Harrods, and focused on most of the scale transformation initiative they've handled in UK, and founder of QE Hub. It started just to support some of the quality engineering initiatives for retail. 5 years in financial services with experience, some of their product development and large-scale transformation initiatives. Now, getting into more about why sustainability matters in retail. So, as Emily has just spoken about the customer behavior and customer experience and everything, this one particular industry is where customer behaviors and customer expectations drive a lot of innovations and changes on a day-to-day. Now, when it comes to the overall environmental impact that create, if you look at it, approximately 25% of the environmental impact right now is because of the retail. And approximately 10% of that is specifically from clothing retail. Now, that's a huge number when you look at it. Now, if we take a little bit further step, so these are some numbers will be very interesting for us. I'm pretty sure we all gone to one particular retail store, whether it's a clothing retailer or a normal grocery retailer. We have came across a situation where we get a receipt. And how many of you grab that receipt? I think pretty much every one of us, right? And what we do with that receipt? We don't do anything.
Exchange returns.
Yeah, absolutely. If you are doing exchange or return, we wanted to keep that receipt. But 90% of the time, nobody look at it. It go in the bin. Okay. Now look at that number. So for paper receipts and shelf labels, if you see on the retail store, it's 3 trillion a year that been created. In US, it's 1.5 billion pound of waste that generate every year. In UK, that 1.2 billion receipt that is getting generated every year. The receipt production, I don't want to get into the details of how it's actually causing trouble, but 34 million of waste, pounds of waste is available. And now look at the delivery. After the COVID, we are all very comfortable at our home. Okay, I look at it. Okay, I got nice t-shirt. Let's get it. I want to get it tomorrow. I want to get it as soon as possible. And then I find another one. I created another order. That's going to be come out to me as another package. So all these delivery and shipment is causing quite a lot of trouble to the environment. So if you look at it, approximately 19 million tons of carbon dioxide emission happening in the world in top 100 cities, right? And that is equivalent to 4.5 billions of coal, billion pounds of coal burning, or 2.5 million cars on the road per year. Now, post-pandemic, the emission has boosted by 25%. that approximately 100 million tons of carbon dioxide to the environment. Now, shipment and multiple boxes. Whenever there is multiple orders are created, the shipment is causing quite a lot of trouble to us. Like, the emission is comparable to approximately 7 million cars on the road, and the parcel volume from the pandemic has rose marginally. It is expected to be 800 billion by 2030. Now, we need to look at the way to reduce it, right? The retailers are responsible for reducing it. The customers are there to support those initiatives. Now, the behavior of the customer is driving a lot of these numbers over here, but at the same time, we can influence that behavior by giving them a lot of better options. And that is where I just wanted to look at some of these areas which are driving greener initiatives in retail. Number one is digital receipt. You go to a store, how many times you came across a question, do you want to send this receipt as an email? I think nowadays you get that quite often, right? Because they want you to move away from that printed one. They want you to, provide your junk email or a normal email or whichever you want to keep and then accept it. So that is I think I would say one of the biggest initiatives to reduce the receipt waste by a lot. And digital receipt, obviously, when it comes to that, most of us will be a little worried about giving our email out over there to get that. But there is a positive impact, right? You can actually, I think, based on the regulatory compliance and GDPR rules and all, which we'll look at in a minute, this is going to be safer for us to go in that route. This is going to cut down the receipt by a huge volume. And there are other initiatives. For example, if you go and shop in Aldi, there's a question at the end, do you want a receipt? I mean, I don't take the receipt. I don't want it. So click a no. That's it. Now, for digital receipt, that's one of the key initiatives done by retailers to cut down the paper weight by a large volume, supported by electronic shelf label. Every label that's sticked onto the retail store is printed every day or in a span of 10 days or 15 days, whenever the price changes or product changes are happening. So can we move away from that particular printed label, and can we go to a direction that will be more sustainable, give retailer more opportunity to market things and get a better visibility for the customers? So that is the second initiative, which is electronic shelf label. Third one is smart fulfillment and return. Some of the terms over here, I'll try to explain it in a little bit. So box, it means buy online and pick from store, which is none other than the collect from store for us in the UK. Boris means buy online and return in store. And third one is ship from home. How does it matter? Because every time I order something from my home to my home or to my friend's address, it's a specific transportation for that particular parcel to reach that destination, right? Now, if we move away from that particular behavior and look at collecting my parcel from the store, this is part of another 100 parcel which is coming down to the store. It's one vehicle, 100 parcel or 1,000 parcels coming down to the store. All you have to do is go down there and collect it. And based on the behavior which I've seen from the customer survey, they don't go out just for collecting that parcel. They will go out to combine multiple of their activities and collect that parcel from the store. Now they collected that parcel from there. They don't need to take it back home, create a label, create a return at home. You try it out there, you don't like it, fine, return in store. Or you bought something online, it came to your home, you don't need to go with the option of someone coming in, collecting it from your home in a normal return method. Step into the store, return it there, because that particular package is going to be part of another 100 parcel which is going to go back to the warehouse. So think about it. How many number of transportation has been come down by this particular? Ship from store, another interesting initiative. A lot of retailers started doing that. So when I order something from my home, rather than shipping that from other part of the country, retailers started looking at the location data, where the customer is located, find out the nearest store to that, check the availability of that particular product in that store, initiate a package from there to my home, hardly 2 miles, 3 miles, or 5 miles, rather than 100 miles or 200 miles of transportation of that parcel. Next one is reduce return via recommended sizing. Those people who are doing shopping online, you might have seen certain retailers where they come up with a recommended sizing. By collecting some of the personal information, for example, our height, our weight, and our body type, that just matters a lot, because you look at it, they give a recommendation that, okay, based on your body type, we believe a large fit for you. In a normal scenario, how do we do it? I mean, I have done it so much. Like, I buy a medium, I buy a large, get it home, try it one, send it back. Right? So this particular change in that online form, by collecting very basic information, is pushing you to a direction or influencing your thoughts that, okay, large is the right fit for you. You don't have to buy two, you just buy one. And if you're happy with it, good. There's a chance that customers are actually taking it, and I take it a lot right now. Finally, consolidated shipment and delivery optimization. Obviously, who are shopping in Amazon, I've seen this quite often, that they will ask a question. You want to combine your parcels into one delivery. And most of the retailers started doing that nowadays. Rather than shipping it immediately one by one, they combine it into one package and send it out to the customer. So that's reducing that delivery optimization initiative, reducing the impact on it. Now, how do we implement all of this? That's interesting thing. Quite a lot of stuff over there, but I'll try to go a little bit easy here. So, for example, for digital receipt, there's quite not a simple implementation. You'll have to look at many complex systems into the landscape to deliver that. For example, for digital receipt, we'll have to look at point of sale, CRM, a digital receipt platform, for example, is Salesforce Marketing Cloud, communication channel, email, SMS, or app notification, BIN reporting, consent management. These are the systems that is coming into picture in order to deliver that. That means every single one of these are a complex integration to make sure that the data is transmitted properly without any loss of data, without any loss of event, and to the right consent from the customer. Now, testing. We are the one who is actually deciding what information is, how is it visible, what level of accuracy is in there. So now some of the information or some of the focus area would be data accuracy, rendering and alignment, because it's going down to the customer. It has to be perfect when it looks nice and tidy. User experience, whether it's readable, the clarity, usability, everything is actually evaluated. Regulatory compliance, very important thing, because if you've seen your printed receipt, you need, there are a lot of information printed out there. It doesn't need, but from your perspective, from an authority or regulatory compliance perspective, all of those informations are needed. For example, if you do a payment using card, you will print the last 4 digit of the card number, authorization code, and some other information there, which is really mandatory. And when it comes to the wider Europe, there's a concept called fiscalization. Fiscalization is for audit purpose. So all the transaction has to be audited by the authorities. So there's a QR code which is getting printed. Now the regulatory compliance initiative comes into picture when you do it in digital receipt as well. So make sure that all those regulatory compliance requirements are validated to the right level and authorized by us before it's going down to the customer. Marketing preference and personalization. This is the opportunity for the retailer. A man who's interested in men's clothing, you might have opted in somewhere in their marketing initiative. So when it comes to the digital receipt, that is providing an opportunity for the retailers to put in the right content in the email to enable you buy more. So alongside your purchase details, you're going to put, okay, here are the new season arrival, or here are the best picks. put some pictures that they're going to be, I think what we've seen is around 70% of the user click on those images. They go in down to the website, they buy another stuff. That's how it works. But you'll have to be very careful because the content management and marketing personalization go in hand, because if you don't have the consent to send out certain information to the customer, you shouldn't be sending that. So that is where testing will have to look at who authorize what level of information to be visible and then validate it accordingly. So some of the success stories over here, Apple, Under Armour, and Lululemon, and personally I work for Under Armour to initiate digital receipt for 9 countries in Europe and US right now. We are into Canada. So that is pretty good initiative, and we've seen that around 80% of the receipts are cut down with 95% of customer satisfaction. They don't want a paper receipt on their hand right now. An electronic shelf label, similar architecture, but you'll have to be a little bit more complex. You'll have to look at the pricing system, the product architecture, inventory management, then point of sale, the communication gateways and content management comes into picture here, right? Every now and then when the price changes for a product, the electronic shelf label has to be updated. Now the communication is the key. When you include a promotion for a particular product, it has to be displayed over there. And here again, for retailers, it's a marketing initiative. On the shelf label, you can have the product details, you can have the variances of that product, the price details, any promotion, similar product, everything can be displayed on that panel. That will trigger customers buying more and bring down the environmental impact. And again, testing has to focus on what level of information are displayed on the product side. The pricing alignment, whenever price changes happen, markdown happen, markup happens, it's all coming down properly. The promotions are displayed properly, user experience, again, regulatory compliance. Most retailers have to adhere to that because there is quite a lot of, quite a hefty fine associated with that regulatory compliance, because what information shown out there has to be exactly as per the compliance initiative it's put together by the government authorization and marketing, as I mentioned. So all of these have to be specifically tested in order to prove they are all coming down properly before we roll it out. Careful has done it so well, and they haven't actually gone at a wider adoption, but they're still going in that route to get this moving. Boris Bobish from Show. We've spoken about the concept, but obviously this has a little bit wider integration, starting from the e-com. The omni-channel is coming into picture. E-com, you create an order, make sure that it's reflected in all the channels, payment platform, all the payment processing has to be perfect. The order management system, warehouse management system, CRM, inventory, communication channels, BAN, content management comes into picture. Again, here, a little bit complexity comes into picture, because if you create an order on the website, you'll have to get the order on the point of sale to get the pick from store initiative completed. Or if you create an order on the app, it has to be reflected in website, in point of sale to get that collected properly. So the cross-channel order processing is key here. The payment, cross-channel payment, again, we bought something using a payment method, for example, Klarna online. How do you get the refund back in the point of sale? Is that going to be initiated directly by the point of sale system, or is that going to be a gift card? All those rules are really important. We tested, proven that customers getting the money back. Tax calculation, when it comes to the different countries, for example, UK has VAT. The VAT percentages vary from product to product. When it goes to Europe, the percentage of taxes varies. When it's to US and Canada, that is actually getting into a different level, because every state has its own taxes, different levels of taxes. There are certain additional taxes in certain states that have to be tested to prove that everything works well when you do a cross-store return, cross-state return, cross-country return. And return refund workflow has to be tested, and customer communication, whether you notify your customer online on your app, whether you send an email to them, whether you send an SMS to them that your parcel is ready for collection or it's coming on your way, that pretty important to touch it. And finally, shipment and delivery. It follows pretty much the same architecture, but bit more complexity comes into picture because we have to test the warehouse fulfillment workflow properly. We have to test the integration with the carrier, with the UPS, DHL, every integration has to be tested properly. And then the route and transportation optimization logic has to be tested to see they are picking the information from the right warehouse, they are going down to the right route and then delivering that as per the commitment and everything. Custom notification, finally, that's something which is pretty important because if we hand over the parcel to a carrier and there is absolutely no information or silence in that, you know how customer is going to behave, right? So these are all pretty complex integration which comes into our responsibility to test and prove it. Amazon has done a good job. Why is it testing non-negotiable? As you've seen, all of these are direct customer impact, right? As a tester, we will have to jump into their shoe to understand how they want this to be delivered. What is that they prefer? Where is that button to be available? All of those have to be done. And I used to go down to the store quite a lot to talk to the people to understand what is their expectation, both from store colleagues' perspective and the customer perspective. Because when I test a solution or when I test a particular journey, then I can take a step back from the tester view and look at it from a store colleague's view. Because they may want to see that button on somewhere else because while they are doing the activities, they may click this somewhere else. So that's where it's important. So the audience alignment, that is where I say how customer behave, how store colleagues behave, what is their thought process, that is something which have to be tested. Data accuracy and data integrity across all the channels, which have to be taken care. Operational quality, pretty important. You put together a solution and it's not working well for the end customer, there's no use of that. And regulatory compliance, we've spoken about that. Environment impact, obviously, once the solution goes gone live, what level of impact, that positive impact that has created, that has to be measured, and the feedback mechanism should actually improve the processes. And data-driven insights and reporting accuracy for all these initiatives, how the data is being used to drive more outcomes or better decisions or improve the workflows. That's something will have to be tested. So if this doesn't happen, none of these initiatives are going to be live or successful to the customer. Finally, greenwashing risk is huge, right? Retailers may say that we are sustainable, but not really we are sustainable. The method of putting that communication to the public, but unless we test it and prove it well, and the real outcome is taken in the right fashion, it's not really that improvement. That's pretty much from me. I'll be around if there's any question on any of these journeys. I'll be happy to answer. But if there's any question right now, can pick it up.
I may have one. Thanks for the talk. While you said that moving from a physical receipt to a digital one will remove the paper waste, do you have numbers what the digital receipt will cost in terms of sending the email, storing it somewhere? Do you have any data about that?
I mean the numbers.
Yes, like if you send a digital receipt, probably they end up somewhere in an email. I mean, they will probably end up in my email inbox, and I will leave it there until I tidy up again. So this will also again consume storage, consume energy. So do you have any numbers about that? How much that is?
I don't have the numbers of that, but there's one important point over there is the further journey of that digital receipt will be handled through the opt-in and the how do you put it? The interaction, right? For example, I get an email, I don't like it, opted out. The moment that opt-out information should actually go into the consent management session, then we'll have to pick it up and then make sure that we don't send any more receipt to them. And how many people have opened it? How many have read it? How many clicked on that images? Or it is something which is we used to collect that information. But what is the impact of that on the environment? Obviously, it's electronic method of delivering, right? It will have an impact for sure, but not up to the level of paper receipt. So I can get that number for you in short time. Yes.
Okay, cool, thanks.